At 6, a Tallahassee man accused of violently abducting a woman at gunpoint has pleaded no contest and is heading to prison. Court records say Stone Robinson Fisher entered his plea yesterday to armed kidnapping, armed burglary, and battery charges. Arrest papers say in July 2023 he pulled a woman out of a friend's car by her hair and forced her into his own car at gunpoint. Documents show she escaped when he stopped at a store in Quincy so she could use the restroom. Robinson Fisher could have faced life in prison, but the judge classified him as a youthful offender because he was under 21 when the crime happened, so he only received a 2-year prison sentence followed by 4 years probation.